Hey everybody, welcome. It's Harlan. I'm grateful to be here. I was just at the beautiful Mansfield University campus. I was just on campus virtually and finished an event. Isn't it beautiful there? This is what it would have looked like if I actually was on campus. It's in upstate Pennsylvania, and it's absolutely gorgeous up there. I've been to some other schools, and it was so much fun. I was talking to their first year class. They've got a class of first year students, and I was able to do like an hour presentation, and I'm going to be able to hang out and do more with them tomorrow. So I do a whole program about the naked roommate and everything else you need to know about college, and I make it really personal, and it was really great. And the part that I love the most is the interaction, and I'm able to get students to talk to each other. And then people will send me questions. And the question part's the best. I love answering questions. And I've been really curious to know, like, what's happening on campus? What are students feeling? What are the secrets that are being kept? Because I know this is a really unusual year, and I really want to support students and parents and families any way I can. So I answer these questions, and I thought it would be cool to actually share with you some of the questions that students sent in. I'm just going to share a few because I don't want to take up too much of your time, but these are questions that came in live during the event. And if you have any questions, you can send your questions to me. Just because I'm doing an event for a school doesn't mean that I don't want to answer your questions. But like, I don't know if you've noticed, but this year, like, I'm really present, really, really, really present. And if you send me a question I don't get back to, be like, I thought you cared, because I truly do care. So these are some of the questions that came in from our event. The first one: do you have any advice for people struggling with their mental health because of academics? I know some people who may be struggling academically, and it feels like they're drowning in their work. This whole learning during COVID has been, just so jarring. It's shaken so many people to the core. There's so many smart people who think they're stupid, truly, because to learn during COVID, to learn when you're not in the classroom, and if you're like a business person, I mean, when you're not in that same environment, it's really hard. So the first thing is to know that you're really smart. Like, you can be brilliant, you can be intelligent, you can be all these things and struggle. Because what happens is people tend to beat themselves up, and the more we beat ourselves up, the harder it is to ask for help, because we have the shame factory. I don't know if you know, but there's two factories in our brain. There's the shame factory and there's the dream factory, right? And when you're feeling shame, the other factory shuts down. And we're great at feeding the shame factory. So the first thing is to know, like, you're really smart. You're really smart. And if you're having a hard time in the classroom, it's probably because you don't have the skills, or you need to learn the skills to manage your time and figure out the best ways to be successful. So it's really important to recognize that you're incredibly intelligent and you're going to struggle doing something new. And then the next part, when it comes to struggling in the classroom and dealing with the mental health issue, is to just find the kindest people. You find the people who are really smart, who struggled. I've been doing so many interviews on Before College TV, and like, there are these students. There's this one Stanford student. Like, I love this dude. He's so great. He talks about just struggling and failing, and he did all right. Like he goes to Stanford, but he felt really scared and uncomfortable, like he was an imposter. We all feel this. It's all part of it. So what you do is you find the kindest people and the most knowledgeable people, and you tell them, I'm struggling. So whenever you're uncomfortable, the opposite is to fight discomfort. When you fight discomfort, you just create more of it. When you fight discomfort, you start hating yourself or hating other people. When you fight discomfort, you feel really isolated and alone. But when you can face the fact that, like, I'm struggling in the classroom and I'm pretty smart and I'm having a hard time, then you just find people and places who can help you. Never before have there been more resources. You go to the academic resource online, you talk to your academic advisor. I've been having so many students who have time management issues. This is another thing that's popped up. If you're somebody who has ADD or ADHD or some other learning challenge, you might have been able to, like, skate through high school because you didn't have to study. And you also were so heavily supervised that you didn't recognize what you were dealing with. So talking to a counselor, there's free counseling. There's also teaching assistants, the professors. So you ask the people who are in your corner for help and you tell them you're struggling. And the beauty is it's early enough in the semester where you can celebrate your C's, D's, and F's. Not like celebrate like wahoo, but you can get help. And that's going to help you to meet people as well. So recognizing that this first semester, this first year, it's really hard, especially during COVID. It's so tough. And if you're a parent and your kids are struggling, or even if they're not struggling, just to check in with them and just remind them that, like, if they can do well, like if they can pass and do well, they're heroes, truly, because it's like so crazy what's going on. All right. Another question for those of you just joining me. I just finished an event. It was part of a first year experience class, and then students will ask me questions during the event. And I wanted to share some of these with you. If you have questions, you can share them with me. And if you don't know who I am, you can figure that out. We can, I talk to students and help them to get comfortable with all the uncomfortable changes. Okay. How do you recommending approaching people you'd like to talk to? So the big challenge is people have masks. I don't have a mask. I could have put a mask on for a demo. So people have masks. They're not eating in the dining halls like normal. They're not gathering like normal. They're not being invited and included. There aren't these gatherings where shy people or people who maybe are used to making friends easily, there aren't these things happening. You're not even physically in the classroom, so it's hard to talk to people. So you have to be more aggressive when it comes to letting people know what you want. So just to get back to the question, how do you recommend approaching people you'd like to talk to? The headline is, be interested. Don't worry about being interesting. Be interested. Don't worry about being interesting. Because if you really are interested in someone, and this is like the hardest thing, especially if you're single, right? And you want to meet someone, all you're thinking is, oh, I want this person to like me. I don't want to be creepy. I don't want this to be uncomfortable. But if you're truly interested in someone, right, and you give that person permission to not be interested in you, like that's the catch. People aren't required to respond one way or another. Your only job is to express what you find interesting and curious. So you could be interested and curious. So the example I said is, if you see somebody who you've walked by 10 times or 15 times, and they've been wearing a mask, you could be like, hey, not that abrupt. That's a little bit jarring. You could be like, hey, I think I've walked by you like 10 times and I don't even know who you are. And I want to introduce myself. Like just a nice thing, because you're probably thinking in your head, who are you? And if they're attractive, you're thinking, are they single? Are they not a single? But you just act interested. If you see somebody sitting outside eating, see, a lot of people are eating outside and some people are eating alone. And if you see somebody eating and the thing looks delicious, you could walk up to them and be like, hey, I don't want to interrupt you, but is that tasty? And if someone doesn't want to talk to you, then like, ew, who cares? But if someone does, then you've already had a conversation. When you're in your academic Zoom, when you're in your Zoom meetings, if you have an interest in something, if you want to study in a group, you'd be like, hey, who wants to put together a virtual study group? And you have to be the one to put that out there. So if you share that, it becomes easier for people to interact with you. Problem is, so many people are so shy. They're so afraid of rejection. They're so afraid of taking a risk. They're so afraid of offending people that people are feeling really lonely and isolated. So the way to meet people is be interested and focus less on being interesting. I could talk more about that. All right, I want to get to the third question. These are questions that came up during my event. I was at Mansfield University. I'm going back tomorrow. Okay, how do you feel about practical careers and degrees over realistic passions? As I said, I want to be in the voiceover field, yet my studies aren't directed in such a direction, and I fear losing out on, let me get to the rest of this question. I fear losing out on a decent job. So the question is, like, do I go for that job that isn't so secure, that's more aligned with my passions and spirit, or do I go with the safe job? And the answer is, right now, you could do both. Like if you're a college student and you want to do voiceovers, you should be doing voiceovers. You could do voiceovers on TikTok. Like I've seen people do amazing voiceovers on TikTok. You could do duets and do voiceovers on TikTok. You could do voiceovers and have a YouTube channel. You could do voiceovers for your school. You could do voiceovers for a high school in the area, like doing broadcasting or something. So the thing is, if you want to do voiceovers, you can do voiceovers while you're a student. The other thing you can do, and this isn't just true of voiceovers, it's whenever you have a job, whenever there's something you want to do that's kind of crazy where parents are like, you can't do that. That's a ridiculous thing to do. Instead of telling a parent or somebody who loves you and is worried about your future, that, oh, I want to do voiceovers for a living. Like, instead of just saying, like, what do you think of that? Because of course they're gonna be like, what do you mean you're doing voiceovers? I'm paying all this money for you to go to college and get a degree so you can have a job. So don't do that. What you do is you find the three people who are doing voiceovers, the three people who you really want to be. Maybe it's an author who does voiceovers and reads books. Maybe it's somebody who you've heard before, or someone who voices characters. You find the person's name, you go to LinkedIn, you find the places where they learned their craft, you find the places where they were able to develop their skills, and you see their path, and you can even reach out to them, which is so cool. Like, you reach out to them, be like, I'm a college student and I'm interested in voiceovers. See, most people are going to be cool if you're a college student because they're not threatened by you and they want to help you. And again, if people don't help you because they're threatened by you or they're just not nice, ew, like, find somebody else. So when it comes to that impractical job, you find the people and the places doing those jobs. You identify where they learned the things that they're doing. You can see where they graduated from school. You can see where they got their jobs. You can see their path. And then when you talk to the people who love you most and say, I want to do voiceovers, instead of saying, what do you think? You could say, I want to do voiceovers. And I found these three people who were really successful. In the audiobook world, someone just did it. They just like read my book, The Naked Roommate. They just did an audiobook. I didn't read it. Someone who did it professionally. You can reach out to that person. But when you tell the people who you love the most what you want to do based on the people who are doing it and how those people have found tremendous success, then it becomes an entirely different conversation, because you're not looking for people to say, oh yeah, that's great. What you're doing is sharing with them what you're doing, your plan, and how you're going to get there. And they can either support you or not. So in the meantime, because this was coming from a first-year student who is really toiling with, do I do practical or do I do passion? Do both. Do both. And then find people on campus who have similar interests, because who knows, maybe you'll start a company, maybe you'll work at a company, maybe they'll need you to do some work for the company. This is the time to share what you want, to share your dreams, to let other people know what you're interested in. And when you give voice to your dreams and you share what you want, people are either going to agree with what you want or they're not. Your only job is to offer without expectations. Offer and share. Like, I put this out there today. I don't know. People are going to watch this. People aren't going to watch it. I used to be so scared to do this because, oh, if people don't watch this, what does it mean? But truly, I've reached a point in my life where I feel like I have something of value. So my only job is to offer. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, then great. I've offered it. And someone else will share something with you that will speak to you. If you enjoy this, hey, let me know. It's nice to know. I do like to hear that because it does feel good. If you have questions, college questions, questions your kids are dealing with, questions you're dealing with, send me your questions, because I'd love to share more of these answers. And if you have answers to any of the questions, or you're doing, let's say you're a voiceover professional, like, share in the comments wherever you are. Be like, I do voiceovers. You can ask me any questions, because when people share their dreams, I'm a firm believer that those who are living those dreams will make themselves available. I'm so grateful to be here, thrilled to be in your corner. You can ask me your questions at helpmeharlan.com. You can send them through Instagram, through what else? Instagram and Snapchat, and even TikTok. I've been answering questions on TikTok. I'll put this up here in the box there. You can even text me questions. I get people who text me. Don't worry, it's a Google Voice number. So if you abuse it, I can change it. But nobody's abused it. So anyway, I'm so grateful to be here. I love this. Let me know how I can help you. You are supported. You are amazing. And I hope you have the most incredible day. And look forward to continuing the conversation. All right. Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for being here. And we will do it again. All right. Thanks.